My name is Max Bottega, and today we're going to have a small talk on how to keep art direction interesting in a procedural world within a small budget. And I'm going to use the game that I'm currently developing with my company, Mac and Cheese Games, as an example on how to achieve this. A very quick introduction about myself. I've been working for video games for the last 20 years on every possible console, mobile, VR, PC, next gen, you name it. And I also covered most of the positions that exist in the realm of creating graphics for games. The most notable project that I've been participating in was Cyberpunk 2077, in which I was one of the lead environment artists. So I learned a lot of things in that project, and a lot of them I poured into this game we're developing. So today I'm going to try to share the tricks that I use to create a procedural world that looks good on a small budget. We know that the problem with procedural when it comes to the environment is that it often looks that it's completely random. So and it doesn't often look good. It's very hard to convey some logic into the way that procedurality creates environment. So I try to address these problems within a reasonable budget with the tools that we had. The game was developed and quick trailer for it. It's not shameless promotion, I'm just trying to give some context. It's a heavy metal roguelike game in which you evolve into 13 different monsters, you destroy a bunch of stuff, you eat a bunch of humans, and it's very action oriented. We are nearly ready to publish, and it was developed in around 2 years, and we're getting ready. It's probably going to be out in November. So as I said, it's a heavy metal roguelite where you play as an evolving monster, 13 playable monsters, 5 biomes. It's very art heavy, and Mac and Cheese Game is the company that I'm co-founder with and it's a very small team, our first game, and we only have one 3D artist, and that is me. So I tried my best not to go crazy while still creating something that was really worth looking at within the constraints of the game design and the platform that we were using. So the main constraints are the fact that this game features 5 different biomes. They have to really be different looking. And the map is procedurally it's generated by procedurally arranging a library of hexagonal tiles that are pre-set dressed. So we basically have a library of tiles that we set dress by hand. I'm going to show it to you in the next slide. And each of them is covered by a ton of very destructible props, a lot of very different destructible props, and we had very short time to deliver all of this. So these tricks that we used were mostly directed at being fast and effective. As I mentioned before, these are the 100 plus tiles that we're using in the game. They are set dressed by hand. That means that we had very short time to take care of each one of them. At the same time, we wanted to deliver a game that looked good. So our goal was mostly to have a dense and good-looking environment that would have been a pleasure to destroy. And at the same time, we wanted to have it super quickly, because with just one 3D artist and such a small team and such a small time frame, it had to be done quickly. So the main solution to this was to resort to use the good old technique of kitbashing. Kitbashing is a technique that has been used since the time of hobby models and crafting things at home to make awesome, mostly science fiction or historical miniatures. And it has been after used in the realm of computer graphics and video games, and basically describes the act of taking a bunch of things that don't belong to each other and smash them together to create something that is very complex. we did the same with our game. So instead of having a limited library of like very unique, good-looking props that we would create as a basically one piece, we instead decided to create sets. For each biome, we have a set of 3 or 4, a library of 3 or 4 small sets, and we combine them to create all the props that are in that biome. Sometimes we take also pieces from one set and we use it in a different biome, but most of the time we are trying to keep them isolated so we maintain the identity of each biome. So it's a process that starts slowly out of obvious reason, you need to create the library, but then speeds up exponentially your working time. This is an example. On the left, we have a library for what is like the gore swamp. Those are the building blocks. And on the right, like that's a small sample of all the props that we created with those elements. Another problem was that we had to set dress quickly the axes. As I say, like we have 140, we need to throw the props at the X and then at the hexagonal tile, and then make sure that they were looking good already. So you see, there are two approaches. The one on top, again, taking for the world of board games and hobby models, and the second one where the props are basically already integrated with the ground, so they kind of like blend in, because in the prop is contained like a piece of the ground. There's attention to the details on where the props gets into contact with the surface that will host it. We call it like the props that stands on their own feet. This is an example from our game. On top, just a tree. The second one is the same tree with a bunch of things, small pebbles, grass, smaller rock, and some moss that blends it basically with the surface, the ground that is just like a flat plane. How do we do that? Like we use basically 3 blending elements. One is the core of the object, the assets that compose the prop. The second one is a base that we created one for each environment, and each prop set basically lies on that base. And the other one is it's a bunch of simple props. They are usually pebbles, grass, and small bushes that surround the element. So they basically create a gradient from the center outside of small clusters of objects that tend to diminish in size and number. It's very important to use clustering. That's something that happens in nature. So you don't distribute things uniformly, you bunch them, and you try to keep the logic like there are a few larger objects and many smaller chunks. The other principle that we used is that we had to keep the uniformity and variation. What does it mean? So when you create a library of props, you cannot have all of them absolutely unique and too catchy. Like you don't want them to distract the player too much. So you have to maintain them like uniform and kind of anonymous in the sense that they don't scream for attention too much one against the other. So we create like a set of small and medium generic props, and then 3 or 4 hero pieces that are basically props that really do want attention. They're kind of unique and they're like nicely detailed. And what we do is that we take each tile and we try to place 1 or 2 hero props and surround them with the generic props of the same biome. This is like one of our typical tiles. As you can see, there are like, in this case, 2 hero pieces, then 2 or 3 medium props, and then surrounded by like small grass or bushes to blend them in. One exception to these was the walls. You can see them on the top of and the bottom of these hex tiles as well. And the walls were basically like blocks, like single meshes that contain everything that can blend within the ground. So like small pebbles or like small bones in the case of those triangular meshes, And the logic is that we just slam them under the tile, and they work out of the box. We don't have to adjust them because we need to place a lot of them, and they have to be like considerably small, low poly. As a bonus trick, this is what I used as a let's say way of making sure that the biomes, the colors, the grading, the values will as not uniform, but like I would say compatible as possible, so the different area wouldn't feel out of a different game, even if they were sporting like very different color combination. And I basically made like, I took a single camera in Unity and I used it to collect other 5 cameras that were just proportionate to have slices, and each of them was looking at a different biome. And I would look through this camera while moving objects around them, tweaking lights and tweaking the material. So I would make sure that the whole look would be as, let's say, aligned as possible between all the biomes. So this is it. I hope that I was able to make possibly your life easier in your project with these tricks. Feel free to go on my website, is maxbottega.com, if you are curious about the things that I worked on, and reach out at max@macandcheesegames.com if you want to ask away any question that you have regarding this or anything else, or just watch out for our game munch. Thanks everyone, and I see you in the chat. Bye.